they're going to, this is called Wonderful Emerald City of Oz, the next story, the next chapter. So we've met the guardian of the gates. Now we're in the city. Okay, even with their eyes protected by the green spectacles, Dorothy and her friends were at first dazzled by the brilliancy of the wonderful city. The cities were lined with beautiful houses, all built of what color? What color?
Green.
Emerald
Green.
green.
Emerald green. Uh, green marble and studded everywhere with sparkling emeralds. They walked over a pavement of the same green marble, and where the blocks were joined together were rows of emeralds set closely and glittering in the brightness of the sun. The window panes were of green glass. Even the sky above the city had a green tint, and the rays of sun were green. Whoa, lots of green. There were many people, men, women, and children walking about, and these were all dressed in green clothes and had greenish skin. They looked at Dorothy and her strangely assorted company, because they are strange. Think about what they see. They see what? Dorothy, what else do they see? Who can say?
Lion, dog, scarecrow.
A lion, a dog,
Right.
a
A
tin man,
scarecrow
and
and a tin man?
scarecrow.
That's really crazy.
I
Um,
would ask for Dorothy's autograph.
if you saw her. They all looked at Dorothy and her strangely assorted company with wondering eyes, and the children all ran away and hid behind their mothers when they saw the lion. Everybody's afraid of the lion, but no one spoke to them. Many shops stood in the streets, and Dorothy saw that everything in them was green. Green candy and green popcorn were offered for sale, as well as green shoes, hats, and green clothes of all sorts. At one place, a man was selling green lemonade. And when the children bought it, Dorothy could see that they paid for it with green pennies. There seemed to be no horses nor animals of any kind. The men carried things around in little green carts, which they pushed before them. Everyone seemed happy and contented and prosperous. The guardian of the gates led them through the streets until they came to a big building exactly in the middle of the city, which was the palace of Oz, the great wizard. There was a soldier before the door dressed in a green uniform and wearing a long green beard. Here are strangers, said the guardian of the gates. They they demand to see the great Oz. Step inside, answered the soldier, and I will carry your message to him. So they passed through the palace and were led into the big room with the green carpet and lovely green furniture set with emeralds. The soldier made them all wipe their feet upon a green mat before entering the room. And when they were seated, he said politely, please make yourselves comfortable while I go to the door of the throne room and tell Oz that you are here. They had to wait a long time before the soldier returned. When at last he came back, Dorothy asked, have you seen Oz? Oh, no, returned the soldier. I have never seen him, but I spoke to him as he sat behind his screen and gave him your message. He said he will grant you an audience if you so desire, but each one of you must enter his presence alone, and he will admit but one each day. So everybody has to go in one a day. So that's how many days? Dorothy, the Scarecrow, um, the Tin Man, the Lion. We won't
That's
count.
4 days.
Yeah, that's four because I don't think we'll count Toto. Wow. Okay. Um, let's see. One a day. Therefore, as you must remain in the palace for several days, I will have shown you 2 rooms where you may rest in comfort after your journey. Thank you, replied the girl. That is very kind of Oz. The soldier now blew upon a green whistle, and at once a young girl dressed in a pretty green silk gown entered the room. She had lovely green hair and green eyes, and she bowed low before Dorothy as she said, "Follow me, and I will show you to your room." So Dorothy said goodbye to all of her friends except Toto, and taking the dog in her arms, followed the green girl through 7 passages, up 3 flights of stairs, until they came to a room at the front of the palace. It was the sweetest little room in the world, with a soft, comfortable bed that had sheets of green silk and a green velvet counterpane. There was a tiny fountain in the middle of the room that shot a spray of green perfume into the air to fall back into a beautifully carved green marble basin. Beautiful green flowers stood in the window, and there was a shelf with a row of little green books. When Dorothy had time to open these books, she found them full of strange green pictures that made her laugh because they were really funny. In a wardrobe were many green dresses made of silk and satin and velvet, and all of them fitted Dorothy exactly. "Make yourself perfectly at home," said the green girl, "and if you wish for anything, ring the bell. Oz will send for you tomorrow morning." So there's Dorothy, and she's got a new green. There's the girl helping her with a new dress on.
Miss Childs, I'm pretty sure this is what the Land of Oz flag looks like
Oh,
with these exact colors.
do you guys agree with Riley? Let's put her.
Mrs. Childs and Dorothy that little green woman kind of looks like Dorothy.
Oh, kind of this one right here, right there.
Yeah, the one in the back, yeah.
Uh-huh. And Dorothy still has her spectacles on
Why?
because it's so bright green. She left Dorothy alone and went back to the others. There were also these. She also led to rooms, and each of them found themselves lodged in a very pleasant part of the palace. So the palace is nice, it sounds like, right? Of course, the politeness was wasted on the scarecrow, for when he found himself alone in his room, he stood stupidly in one spot just within the doorway to wait till morning. Why did the lion do that? Why did he just stand there in the middle of the room?
Because he could never get tired.
No, not the lion. Why? What do you think? He was in his room all alone. What's wrong with the lion?
He's cowardly, so he was scared.
He's scared. That's right. Exactly. Okay. It would not rest him to lie down, and he could not close his eyes. Oh, that was the scarecrow. I thought that was a lion. I'm sorry. I got that wrong. That's the scarecrow. It would not rest him to lie down, and he could not close his eyes. So he remained all night staring at a little spider which was weaving its web in a corner of the room, just as if it were not
Miss
one of the most
Childs.
wonderful rooms in the world.
Maybe that was Charlotte, and maybe Charlotte was wearing little green spectacles.
That would be cool. That would be cool. The Tin Woodman lay down on his bed from force of habit, for he remembered what it was like when he was made of flesh. But not being able to sleep, he passed the night moving his joints up and down to make sure they kept in good working order. The lion would have preferred a bed of dried leaves in the forest and did not like being shut up in a room, but he had too much sense to let this worry him. So he sprang upon the bed and rolled himself up like a cat and purred himself asleep in 1 minute. The next morning after breakfast, the Green Maiden came to fetch Dorothy, and she dressed her in one of the prettiest gowns made of green brocaded satin. Dorothy put on a green silk ribbon and tied a green ribbon around Toto's neck, and they all started for the throne room of the Great Oz. I wonder what's going to happen. First, they came to a great hall in which there were many ladies and gentlemen of the court, all dressed in rich clothes. These people had nothing to do but talk to each other, but they always came to wait outside the throne room every morning, although they were never permitted to see Oz. As Dorothy entered, they looked at her curiously, and then one of them whispered, "Are you really going to look upon the face of Oz the Terrible?" "Of course," answered the girl, "if he will see me." "Oh, he will see you," said the soldier, who had taken her message to the wizard, "although he does not like to have people ask to see him." Indeed, at first he was angry and said I should send you back where you came from. And then he asked me what you looked like. And when I mentioned your silver shoes, he was very interested. At last, I told him about the mark upon your forehead. That's where the, the good witch kissed Dorothy, remember? At last, I told him about the mark upon your forehead, and he decided that he would admit you to his presence. Just then, a bell rang, and the green girl said to Dorothy, "That is the signal. You mustn't go into the throne room alone." She opened the little door, and Dorothy walked boldly through and found herself in a wonderful place. It was a big round room with a high arched roof, and walls and ceiling and floor were covered with large emeralds set closely together. In the center of the roof was a great light, as bright as the sun, which made the emeralds sparkle in a wonderful manner. But what interested Dorothy most was the big throne room of green marble that stood in the middle of the room. It was shaped like a chair and sparkled with gems, as did everything else. In the center of the chair was an enormous head without any body to support it or any arms or legs. There was no hair upon the head, but it had eyes and a nose and a mouth and was much bigger than the head of the biggest giant. As Dorothy gazed upon this in wonder and fear, the eyes suddenly turned slowly and looked at her sharply and steadily. Then the mouth moved, and Dorothy heard a voice say, "I am the great and terrible Oz. Who are you, and why do you seek me?" And here is a picture of the head sitting on the throne. Isn't that silly?
That was not what I was expecting. But
I know. Me neither.
it's different in my shop.
I expected the throne to look like a real throne.
I know.
And I didn't expect the head to be so big.
It's really big.
That's as big as my house.
That's just tinier than a mouse. That feels like tinier than a mouse.
Okay, I'm going to mute you guys so I can keep going.
I thought the head would look like a giant alien head.
It kind of does, but it looks like a person, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like an alien head in the movie.
Yeah. Well, let's find out what happens. "I am Oz, the great and terrible. Who are you, and why do you seek me?" It was not such an awful voice as she expected to come from the big head. So she took courage and she answered, "I am Dorothy the Small and Meek. I have come to you for help." The eyes looked at her thoughtfully for a full minute. Then said the voice, "Where did you get the silver shoes?" "I got them from the Wicked Witch of the East when my house fell on her and killed her," she replied. "Where did you get the mark upon your forehead?" "That is where the Good Witch of the North kissed me when she bade me goodbye and sent me to you," said the girl. Again, the eyes looked at her sharply, and they saw that she was telling the truth. Then Oz said, "What do you wish me to do?" "Send me back to Kansas where my Auntie Em and Uncle Henry are," she answered earnestly. I don't like your country, although it is so beautiful. And I am sure Auntie Em will be dreadfully worried over my being away for so long. The eyes winked 3 times. Do that. And then they turned up to the ceiling and down to the floor and rolled around so strangely that they seemed to see every part of the room. And at last they looked at Dorothy again. Why should I do this for you? Asked Oz. Because you are strong and I am weak. Because you are the great wizard and I am only a helpless girl. But you were strong enough to kill the Wicked Witch of the East, said Oz. That just happened, returned Dorothy simply. I could not help it. Well, said the head, I will give you my answer. You have no right to expect me to send you back to Kansas unless you do something for me in return. In this country, everyone must pay for something he gets. If you wish me to use my magic power to send you home again, you must do something for me first. Help me and I will help you. What must I do? Asked the girl. You must kill the Wicked Witch of the West, answered Oz.
Wicked Witch of the West.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's finally getting good.
Bum, bum, bum.
But I cannot, exclaimed Dorothy, greatly surprised. You killed the Witch of the East and you wear the silver shoes, which bear a powerful charm. That means they're magic. There is now but one wicked witch left in all this land. And when you can tell me she is dead, I will send you back to Kansas, but not before. The little girl began to weep. She was so disappointed, and the eyes winked again and looked upon her anxiously as if the great Oz felt that she could help him if she would. I never killed anything willingly, she sobbed. And even if I wanted to, how could I kill the Wicked Witch? If you were the great and terrible, cannot kill her yourself, how do you expect me to do it? Here she is crying. There she is crying. She's so upset. She's such a little girl. I do not know, said the head, but that is my answer. And until the Wicked Witch dies, you will not see your uncle and aunt again. Remember that the witch is wicked, tremendously wicked, and ought to be killed. Now go, and do not ask to see me again until you have done your task. Boy, does this seem impossible or what, Zara?
It's
Yeah.
What I would do is go confront her and be like, can you please stop? I have something to do and you're getting in the way.
That's what you would say.
And then no spoiler alert, so I can't tell the second half.
No, don't tell the second half. Sorrowfully, Dorothy left the throne room and went back where the Lion and the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman were waiting to hear what Oz had said to her. There is no hope for me, she said sadly, for Oz will not send me home until I have killed the Wicked Witch of the West, and that I can never do. Her friends were sorry, but could do nothing to help her. So she went down to her room, lay down on the bed, and cried herself to sleep. The next morning, the soldier with the green whiskers came to the Scarecrow and said, "Come with me, for Oz has sent for you." So the Scarecrow followed him and admitted him into the great throne room, where he saw sitting in the emerald throne a most lovely lady. This is different. She was dressed in a green silk gauze and wore upon her flowing green locks a crown of jewels. Growing from her shoulders were wings, gorgeous in color and so light that they fluttered in the slightest breeze of air that reached them. When the Scarecrow had bowed as prettily as his straw stuffing would let him before this beautiful creature, she looked upon him sweetly and said, "I am Oz, the great and terrible. Who are you and why do you seek me?" Oz is different from the big head, huh? Now the Scarecrow, who expected to see the great head Dorothy had told him of, was astonished, but he answered bravely, I am only a scarecrow stuffed with straw. Therefore, I have no brains. And I come to you praying that you will put brains in my head instead of straw, so that I may become a man as any other in your dominions. Why should I do this for you? Asked the lady. Because you are wise and powerful, and no one else can help me, answered the Scarecrow. I never grant favors without something in return, said Oz. But this much I will promise. If you guess what he's going to ask the Scarecrow to do.
If you
Can kill the Wicked Witch of the West.
Let's hear it. If you can kill the Wicked Witch of the West, I will bestow upon you a great many brains, and such good brains that you will be the wisest man in all of the land of Oz. I thought you asked Dorothy to kill the witch, said the Scarecrow in surprise. So I did. I don't care who kills her, but until she is dead, I will not grant your wish. Now go, and do not seek me again until you have earned the brains you so greatly desire. The Scarecrow went away sorrowfully back to his friends and told them that what Oz had said. And Dorothy was surprised to find that the great wizard was not a head as she had seen, but a lovely lady. All the same, said Dorothy, said the Scarecrow, she needs a heart as much as the Tin Man. On the next morning, the soldier with the green whiskers came to the Tin Woodman and said, Oz has sent for you. Follow me. Now, we've seen a big head. Oz was a big head, and then a beautiful lady. Who thinks he's going to be something different now? Do you? You do? Riley does? Isla does? Let's see. Okay. So the Tin Woodman followed him and came to the great throne room. He did not know whether Oz would be a lovely lady or a head, but he hoped it would be the lovely lady. For, he said to himself, if it is the head, I am sure I shall not be given a heart, since a head has no heart of its own and therefore cannot feel for me. But if it is the lovely lady, I shall beg hard for a heart, for all the ladies are themselves said to be kindly hearted. But when the woodman entered the throne room, he saw neither a head nor a lady, for Oz had taken the shape of a most terrible beast. The beast had a head like a rhinoceros, only there were 5 eyes on its face. There were 5 long arms growing out of a body, and it had 5 long, slim legs. Thick, woolly hair covered every part of it, and a more dreadful looking monster could not be imagined. It was fortunate that the Tin Woodman had no heart at the moment, for it would have beat loud and fast in terror. But being only tin, the Woodman was not afraid at all, although he was very disappointed. I am the great Oz. I am Oz, the great and terrible, spoke the beast in a voice that was one great roar. Who are you and why do you seek me? I am a woodman made of tin. Therefore, I have no heart and cannot love. I pray you to give me a heart that I may be as other men are. Why should I do this? Demanded the beast. Because I ask it, and you alone can grant my request, said the woodman. Oz gave a low growl at this, but said gruffly, if you desire a heart, you must earn it. How? Who can predict?
Kill the Wicked Witch of the
by
West.
killing the Wicked Witch of the West.
You think so? How? Help Dorothy kill the Wicked Witch of the West, replied the beast. When the witch is dead, come to me, and I will give you the biggest and kindest and most loving heart in all the land of Oz. So the Tin Woodman was forced to return sorrowfully to his friends and tell them of the terrible beast that he had seen. They all wondered greatly at the many forms that the great wizard could take upon himself, and the lion said, "If he is a beast, when I go to see him, I shall roar my loudest and so frighten him that he will grant what I ask. And if he is a lovely lady, I shall pretend to spring upon her and so compel her to do my bidding. And if he is a great head, I'm sorry, he will be at my mercy. For I will roll the head all about the room until he promises to give us what we desire. So be of good cheer, my friends, for all will be well. I will get everything we all want." The next morning, the soldier with the green whiskers led the lion to the great throne room and bade him enter the presence of Oz. The lion at once passed through the door and, glancing around, saw to his surprise that before the throne, was a,
Wall of fire.
you remember, a great ball of fire, so fierce and glowing he could scarcely bear to gaze upon it. His first thought was that Oz had by accident caught on fire and was burning up. But when he tried to go nearer, the heat was so intense that it singed his whiskers, and he crept back trembling to a spot nearer to the door. Then a low, quiet voice came from the ball of fire, and these were the words it spoke. I am the great Oz. I am Oz, the great and terrible. Who are you, and why do you seek me? And the lion answered, "I am a cowardly lion, afraid of everything. I came to beg for you courage, so that in reality I may become the king of beasts, as men call me." "Why should I give you courage?" demanded Oz. "Because of all the wizards, you are the greatest, and alone have power to grant my request," answered the lion. The ball of fire burned fiercely for a time, and then the voice said, "Bring me proof that the wicked witch is dead, and that moment I will give you courage. But as long as the witch lives, you may remain a coward." The lion was angry at this speech, but could say nothing in reply. And while he stood silently gazing at the ball of fire, it became so furiously hot that he turned his tail and he ran out of the room. He was glad to find his friends waiting for him and told them of the terrible interview with the wizard. "What shall we do now?" asked Dorothy sadly. "There is only one thing we can do," returned the lion, "and that is to go to the land of the Winkies, seek out the wicked witch, and destroy her." "But suppose we cannot," said the girl. "Then I shall never have courage," declared the lion. "And I shall never have brains," added the Scarecrow. "And I shall never have a heart," spoke the Tin Woodman. "And I shall never see Auntie Em and Uncle Henry," said Dorothy, and she began to cry. "Be careful," cried the green girl. "The tears will fall on your green silk and spot it." So Dorothy dried her eyes and said, "I suppose we must try it. But I am sure I do not want to kill anybody, even to see Auntie Em again." "I will go with you, but I'm too much of a coward to kill the witch," said the lion. "I will go too," declared the Scarecrow, "but I shall not be of much help to you. I am such a fool." "I haven't the heart to harm even a witch," remarked the Tin Woodman. "But if you go, I certainly shall go with you." Therefore, it was decided to start upon their journey the next morning, and the woodman sharpened his axe on the green grindstone, and all his joints properly oiled. The Scarecrow stuffed himself with fresh straw, and Dorothy put new paint on his eyes that he might see better. The green girl, who was very kind to them, filled Dorothy's basket with good things to eat and fastened a little bell around Toto's neck with a green ribbon. They went to bed quite early and slept soundly until daylight, when they were awakened by the crowing of a green goose. that lived in the backyard of the palace, and the cackling of a hen that had just laid a green egg. And tomorrow we start on the journey.
I
And
guess
It's
I guess
search
every
for the
this
wicked
child-
witch.
everything is
child-
green in the land of Oz.
Miss
Yes.
Childs, I wrote down all the different Wizards of Oz. Big head, little woman, rhino with 5 eyes, ball of fire.
Yes, very good. Oh, that was exciting, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So now